What's going on, everyone? My name is Marco, and I'm the founder of Horizon Ops. We are a company that enables other companies to scale by using tools like Airtable and operations expertise and automations expertise. If you need some help building out your Airtable, feel free to hit us up and book a call through us through our website below. And let's just dive right in. So, what the hell even is Airtable? I think a lot of people don't really understand its potential, and it looks and it feels like a spreadsheet and something like Google Sheets if you don't really know what you're working with. But I promise you, it is like 10 times more powerful than that. And it should get you excited because it could be a lot more powerful, way more powerful than operating on something like Google Sheets, and it could transform how you do your business with respect to workflow management. So, what is Airtable? So, Airtable lets you organize data visually like a spreadsheet, but it has structure and connections of relational database. So, at the core, it's a relational database, and I will go over sort of what that means. But what it allows you to do is it allows teams to work together in real time. It allows you to be very flexible and allows you to view and update data as needed with all these different departments interacting with one another. So marketing, project management, finance, they could all work from the same data set, which is incredibly powerful if you think about it. And we'll get into some examples below. But you could think of maybe you're using something like Google Sheets or Excel. You have all this data scattered, or maybe you're just using a whole bunch of different software, right? Your finance department is using QuickBooks, your project management team is using Trello, and your marketing team is using Google Sheets to manage campaigns. Now, how the hell are all those teams supposed to be connected and have any type of synergy between them if they're all using different tools and everything's siloed? So that is pretty much what Airtable is trying to solve. And they do that by, under the hood of the actual, grid view that you first see within Airtable, under the hood, it's relational database. And so I think, we should spend some time, really, a couple of minutes to go over what a relational database even is, because a lot of people have heard of databases or maybe even a relational database, but don't know what the heck it is. And so if you don't come from a technical background, you probably don't know the ins and outs, but I will try to be as non-technical as possible here. And so a relational database is an organized collection of data that could keyword link, to different sets of information stored in tables. So everything's stored in a table, which I'll show you a little bit how they're represented below, but to each other through shared fields. Each table consists of rows, or in Airtable it's called records, and columns. Airtable it's called fields. These tables could be related, which means you only store data once and link it when needed, avoiding data duplication and errors. So this is the money here, avoiding data duplication and errors. So let's use a specific example for a marketing agency. So imagine, you're a generic marketing agency or company. You have a clients table, a projects table, campaigns table, and a team members table. So our clients table stores all the details about the client. So their name, contact information, company. The projects table stores all the marketing projects for each client. The campaigns table shows all the active and upcoming marketing campaigns for those projects. And the team member shows all of the employees involved with these projects. So if you were operating on something like Excel or Google Sheets, you could probably get into a clusterfuck, excuse my language, of just a whole bunch of stuff within one sheet. Like you could think of an example, you could put all of this into one sheet. But the problem is when you need to make an update or when you need to add data, it becomes really annoying because you're having a lot of redundancy in your data. So let's say you add in a client or you add in a project, you go by projects. Then you have to always add the same client if you're repeating the same one, and that you're prone to a lot of errors while doing this because there's a lot of duplication. And when it comes to syncing things up or updating it, maybe even between other spreadsheets, it could get really annoying and it could get time consuming and it's just really error prone. And so a relational database, so in Airtable, it allows you to connect these tables. So for instance, you could link a client from the client's table to their specific marketing campaigns in the campaigns table. And so what this means is when you're viewing a client's record, you could also see which campaigns are being run for them. And so if a projects table is updated, so say a new campaign is added for a specific client, it automatically links with the related records in a client's table. And all the information is updated across the board. So no matter where your team looks, they always are seeing the most current data. So you can imagine this being really powerful. I'm not gonna actually go in and show how this actually looks like. I'll have a beginner's tutorial for Airtable, but if I go and show the UI and then show you how things link, then I'm going to have to explain everything. So I'm just going to try to keep this at a high level. But the point is that you avoid duplication and you link things together. And so the word relational in relational database, it should you should associate in your head with relationships. Things within your business have different relationships with one another. And in this example, you have a client, and for each client, you're going to have different projects. So that's a relationship right there. And for each project, you're going to have different campaigns. So that's another relationship between those things in your business. And each of those projects are going to have team members running those projects. So that's another relationship. And so instead of always having to go in and update the client spreadsheet, the project spreadsheet, every single time you add something new, you add it once. So for example, you add a new project here and it'll update across all the other tables. Just like we talked about here. It automatically links with the related records in the clients table, which is super useful, especially if you're thinking about working cross-functionally. Your marketing team, maybe your product team, your customer support team, everything's working with the same data set. And so just to show you what this actually looks like, when you're actually creating your database, you want to be really mindful about how you're actually structuring the data, because this is really important in terms of avoiding redundancy, for example. And so you create what's called a entity relationship diagram. And so each one of these things are entities, different things within your business that you want to keep track of. And so this, for example, is a ERD, entity relationship diagram. And so you see your tables here. So this is in an entire database. This is a very simplified database right here, or representation of a database. And this is, maybe an e-commerce brand. And so you have your customers, you have all the different, fields here, which describe the entity. So in this case, you have the customer's first name, last name, birthday. You have the employees, so you have employee ID, first name, last name, birthday. The products, product ID, category, price, orders, order ID, customer ID, employee ID, product ID. And so you see here that on the orders table, you have stuff coming in from the product table, and also the customer table, and also the employee table. And so going back to what I just said, if you update an employee here, well now, maybe we update the first name of, employee A, which happens to be Marco. We change it to Mark. Well, now all of the orders that it's associated with will be changed to Mark. So hopefully that gives you, and we can do the same thing with everything else in this database. By linking this, you reduce a lot of data, and you structure the data so you don't have to, keep duplicating data and put more effort in and put more time in, when you could structure the data efficiently from the start. And so that's why you work with, people who know how to set up databases like Horizon Ops. And so this is just another example. This actually just shows the type of relationships and, the individual type of data that's in your database, but it's just a more complicated way of showing what I just showed you here. So, what else does Airtable do? So it is a database now. We know that it's a relational database, which is a type of database where things have relationships with one another. But there's also more. So it builds on top of this database by having views and interfaces. And so Airtable's connected views allow different teams within a business to collaborate in real time on shared data without each person having to sift through irrelevant information. Everyone works from the same database, but they can customize their view based on their needs, making Airtable a highly collaborative platform. So this just adds another step. So now we've reduced the duplicated data, but now we could also pick what each team or role has to actually see, or what they should be seeing, so they don't have to see a whole bunch of unnecessary crap that doesn't relate to their role. So let's just go through these examples here. So marketing team, so they're in charge of campaign management. The marketing team has a view, and views are just ways to see different data. It's like the default way of viewing something in Airtable when you set up a base or a database is just a grid view, and it looks like a spreadsheet. So that's why a lot of people just think it's like Google Sheets, but under the hood, it's nothing like Google Sheets. It is far more powerful. But anyways, you could view stuff as a grid, like a spreadsheet, or you could view it as a Kanban board, like in Trello, or you could view it as a calendar, or you could view it as a, image list where you have different images for each of the data, or different types of lists. And so each department or each role could view and customize these views to what they need to do in order to complete their job to the best of their abilities. So going forward with this example, the marketing team has a view in the campaigns table that shows the status, timeline, and key metrics for each campaign. If they update a campaign's progress from planning to launched, that change is immediately reflected across the entire database. So, you have different teams and different roles working with the same data underneath in different views that are, catered to them. But when they make an update, everyone else in the company, all the other roles, they could see that updated. And so it's no longer everything is a fucking free for all. Excuse my language again. I hope I don't kill the viewership of the future of the video by cursing, but everything is no longer a jumble mess of siloed data. It's now all connected. So if if the marketing team makes an update, the sales team can now see that it went from plan to launch. And the updates are also automatically reflected in the clients table, where the account managers could see the stage of each client's campaigns. No need for back and forth emails. Everything is updated in real time. So just what I was talking about. Project management team can have a separate view. So this is different from the marketing team. In the projects table, focused on timelines, task assignments, and deadlines. If they move a project to the next phase, say from InDesign to client review, this update is visible to the marketing team and account managers, who instantly see where each project stands. So it could be filtered so project managers only see active projects assigned to them and keeps their workspace clean and focused. So again, you could add filters on top of these different views and choose what specific fields of data that your team members should be looking at. And the last one, we have the finance team. So they're doing billing and budget tracking, and they have a view that pulls in data from both clients and project tables, allowing them to see which projects are active and which clients need to be invoiced. If the project management team updates a project to completed, the finance team automatically sees it, and they can trigger a invoice for the client, all from the same Airtable database. So as you could tell, it is an extremely valuable tool for working with all parts of your business. And so you're fundamentally using the same database or data source, and they call it a single source of truth because it really is. And then you build on top of that. So you build views on top of that, and you could build different, no code apps on top of that, or even like forms. So that is what Airtable is. It is a database with, things built on top of it, so your team could do their job to their best of their abilities. So if you found this useful, feel free to subscribe or book a call with myself or my team at Horizon Ops, so we could help you build a database, because like I mentioned before, you really want to be intentional when it comes to building out the database that is going to be responsible for being the single source of truth for your business. So if you found this valuable, hopefully you did. Thanks for your time, and see you later. Thanks.